Okay, here's something that might blow your mind slightly when it comes to online success. You've probably been told the secret sauce is getting more followers, right? So chase those subscriber numbers, hit those milestones, celebrate every 1,000 like it's the golden ticket. But what if I told you that that's actually backwards? What if chasing follower counts is the exact reason most creators are broke and frustrated? It's not about the size of your audience, it's about the depth of your connection. And the research backs this up in ways that might actually surprise you. So, a study published in the Journal of Advertising shows something fascinating. As viewer count goes up, engagement per follower actually drops. And we're talking about a significant inverse relationship here. But this is where it gets really interesting. So, data from 2024 shows that micro influencers with under 100,000 followers get engagement rates of up to 8%, while the big macro influencers with millions of followers, well, they're stuck at 1 to 2%. Just think about that for a second. So the micro influencers can generate up to 60% more engagement than macro influencers. And they're seeing, 20% higher conversion rates. So these aren't just vanity metrics, that's real business impact. So what's happening here? Why are smaller creators consistently outperforming the big names when it comes to trust and actual results? Well, whether we're talking about, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, or any other platform where, you might be building your audience, the answer lies in something I call virtual rapport. And once you understand how this works, everything changes. Virtual rapport is your ability to create genuine connection at scale through videos, live streams, posts, and just the way you communicate your message across any platform. And it's not about being completely perfect and everything has to be polished. It's about being real, consistent, really, really focused on the person consuming your content. And right now, that is you. So I'm 100% focused on you. I mean, communication researchers like Daft and Lengel figured this out decades ago with something that they called media richness theory. So their research shows that videos and, nowadays you would say live streams are the richest form of communication online because they carry the most cues, your tone, your body language, your facial expressions, even the energy that you bring at the moment. So all of that richness helps people feel closer to you, even though it's through a screen. And that's what real virtual rapport looks like in action. It creates a feeling of community, not just content consumption. And by the way, if you do want to join my community, please click a link in the description. Okay, plug over. But here's where it gets really fascinating from a psychological standpoint. And this is something I've been absolutely obsessed with since studying psychology back at university, which is a while back now. There's a phenomenon that researchers call parasocial interaction. And basically it's when your audience starts to feel like they know you personally, even though they've never actually met you. I mean, a study from 2024 actually found that some people feel their relationships with online creators are more effective in fulfilling their emotional needs than casual in-person friendships. I mean, let that sink in for a second. Your audience can feel more connected to you through a screen than they do if they actually see somebody in real life. So when you show up consistently with clarity, authenticity across your platforms, something magical happens. People stop seeing you as content and they stop treating you like some kind of entertainment, and they start seeing you as a trusted guide, someone they can genuinely care about and want to succeed. And that matters now more than ever, because with AI making it easier for anyone to just flood the internet with content, reach alone is going to become almost worthless. So what cuts through the noise isn't follower count or viral moments, it's genuine deep connection. So think about how the algorithms work on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. None of them reward follower count in the way they used to. They reward engagement, watch time, comments, shares, and most importantly, how long people stay engaged with your content. So all these are signs of real rapport. Now, I learned this lesson in a kind of unexpected way, and maybe you can relate to this journey. I spent years working in BBC TV and radio, where I learned the fundamentals of connecting with audiences at scale. But in some ways, I was still thinking in a slightly old school broadcast term, one-to-many communications, talking at people rather than with them. And then COVID hit, and suddenly I had to pivot from in-person workshops to delivering everything on Zoom. And at first I was terrified. How do you create the same energy, the same connection through a screen? But something incredible happened. I started applying what I'd learned at the BBC about audience psychology and combined it with everything I was obsessing over with my psychological studies. And I realized that virtual communication wasn't a limitation. It was actually an opportunity, because I could now reach people in different countries, different time zones, people who could never have attended one of my in-person workshops. And I was actually working less, but connecting with more people than ever before. And the depth of connection, sometimes it was actually as strong, if not stronger in many cases. So the realization completely changed my business. Now, I now run a successful online education business reaching thousands of people globally, and it all comes down to mastering virtual rapport. What I discovered is that most people approach online platforms like they're broadcasting to some kind of faceless crowd. But the most successful creators, the ones building real businesses, making real money, creating real impact, they understand that every piece of content is a one-to-one conversation. So how do you actually build this kind of connection across any platform? Let's break it down into 3 core elements that can make virtual rapport work. So first, message clarity. You need to know exactly who you serve, what specific problem they're stuck with, and what outcome they really want. Not general stuff like, oh, I help entrepreneurs succeed. I mean like laser focused clarity, like helping tech professionals transition into leadership roles without burning out their teams. When your message is that clear, the right people feel like you're reading their minds. They think, this person really gets me. This person understands my exact situation. And this works whether you're posting on LinkedIn, creating TikToks, or going live on Instagram. Second, strategic storytelling. Here's a stat that might change how you create content. So in a Stanford study where students were giving a 1-minute presentation, afterwards they did a survey. 63% of the audience could remember a story that was told, while only 5% could remember any specific statistics. But here's what most people get wrong about storytelling. They think it means sharing just random personal anecdotes. Real strategic storytelling means every story you tell connects directly to the transformation you're helping people to achieve. So your struggles become their hope, their roadmap. So your victories become what's possible for them going forwards. So this principle works across every platform. A story in a LinkedIn post, on Instagram captions, a YouTube video. It's all about creating some kind of emotional bridge. And thirdly, intentional presence. This is about the small details that make people feel like you're speaking directly to them. Whether it's eye contact with the camera lens, the way you write your captions, or how you respond to comments, everything should feel personal and intentional. And if you really want to accelerate this, embrace live interaction whenever possible and reply to comments in real time, call people out by name, make them feel seen and heard, not just another number in your analytics. Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't just about social media success. It's about building a real business around your expertise. So when you master virtual rapport, you're not just creating content, you're creating a community. You're not just getting more views, you're building trust. You're not just entertaining people, you're genuinely helping them transform their lives or their business. But you could take it one step further, because what matters most is showing up with intention, with connection, with real value for humans, actually caring. I know I'm old-fashioned, but yeah, it might just work. And if you want help mastering these exact skills, messaging that connects, storytelling, sales, virtual presence that builds real trust, I want to invite you to join my community. There's a link in the description below, and that's where we can go deep on turning your expertise into a business that creates genuine freedom and impact. And just a final thought. In a world full of content, connection is your competitive advantage. So in a sea of influencers, being genuinely influential means creating real relationships, one person at a time, across every platform where you show up. So